Y'all come into the room and get comfortable because I have some strong opinions. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I'm looking for the name. Loving Aries 23. And thank you, Andrea Rogers, for your super chat. I do appreciate your money, but I am going to address your comment. And you already know I don't agree. But thank you for the super chat. I'll be with y'all in a moment. All right, Mup. Let's get into this shit.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Now come on in. Now come. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm weird. Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondi Blue. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondi Blue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video, right?
Okay, I'm here. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? Are we clear before I get into this? Because I'm not going to waste any time because I don't want to be here all day. Yes? Yes. Okay. OG explains to Malaysia, Kristen, and Jackie how she was called aggressive, gorilla, Godzilla. There were monkey emojis used in subliminal Instagram stories that people can now come back and say, that wasn't about her. That had nothing to do with her. They talked about her breast. They talked about her toe. They talked about her feet. They basically went up and down her body and picked her apart. And yes, they do that to all the new girls. They do that to each other. Absolutely. Absolutely. But what they don't do is call people gorillas, call people Godzilla, call people aggressive, keep people on a different set because you're so scared of them. You're so nervous about what they're going to do. When someone calls you out for being racist, you don't sue them, especially if there's another situation that we can call to question that you actually wrote an apology for racist comments. So one would say that you are racist. Evelyn, Shawnee, you specifically said during this episode that you and Evelyn were not colorist or racist. Yet Evelyn has written a letter apologizing to Cece for referring to her as Ling Ling when she got upset that she couldn't bully that lady. All upset and intimidated because Cece was coming to this show with a job, with a business, with something besides the man she lays under as a badge of honor. So yes, there were other reasons for why you could dislike someone, but when you start to pick them apart and then treat them differently, as OG explained in the recording she posted online and in the show last night, she explained where she feels the colorism comes into play. And what everybody is actually annoyed with is the fact that we're still having this conversation. So I need for you to understand that in the system of racism, whenever someone says, hey, you're doing this to me, this is racist. A white person or other gets to then say, oh my God, that is egregious. How dare you call me racist? That is so wrong for you to call me racist for what I'm doing to you. And so then now everybody is aggravated and annoyed because one person is refusing to relinquish. One person is refusing to lie down and take the beating. And that's what y'all are aggravated about. Andrea and a lot of the other people that want OG to just get over it. Ask yourself what you're really tired about. You're tired about the whole situation. You're tired about hearing about it. But what you cannot do is at the beginning of this fucking season, tell somebody that you understood where they were coming from. And now that y'all are tired of talking about it, you want them to shut up and change their mind about how they feel. This entire episode was Jackie, Malaysia, and Kristen having a conversation, asking for clarity, being provided clarity, and then still turning back around to tell OG that they believe she's twisting and manipulating this situation to make it seem like colorism and racism. And what I would like to say to everyone watching is that we do not have to do that. Racism is literally everywhere. It is in every fabric of our being in this country with how we think about things. We're obsessed about race and ethnicity in this country because of what? Racism and slavery. So now that Black people have started to point out, realize, pinpoint, call out the instances that happen all the time, because everybody is exhausted with hearing about it, they now want to tell the Black person that it's not happening and you need to reconsider and you need to relinquish and you need to concede and you need to stop saying that we're racist and colorist, even though we've never admitted it. We've never admitted that this is something we're doing. We're going to keep trying to change your mind about your experience. It doesn't matter how many times you explain it, how many times you use examples. We're going to still come to you with the bullshit and tell you that you need to change your mind. If y'all don't understand that, and let's, before I even get into the rest of the notes, let's talk about Jackie for a minute. Let's talk about Jackie. So now everybody is upset because OG says that everybody is a part of this colorism issue. She says everybody has a colorism problem. This group has a colorism issue. And what she means is either you are the person deciding how the colorism is going to be divvied up or put on OG, or, you know, like Evelyn is the one, and Shawnee, they're the people who decide who's cool in the group. And then you have the other people that may not say these things or do these things, but they stay quiet, therefore playing a part. They pick a side by staying quiet. They pick a side by finding issue with OG and trying to break apart her story in order to invalidate her. So yeah, they don't necessarily have to say, OG, you're a monkey. But you know what they do have to do? Pick a side in an argument that is very clear. It's very clear that Evelyn and Malaysia and everybody else gets to be aggressive without being called aggressive or being treated differently than the rest of the group for said aggression. Yes, the girls might dislike each other for various reasons, for mess, how they look, rib each other's hair and clothes, all of that shit. But what it really came down to is Shawnee, who had never really had a conversation with OG, proceeded to act on the show as if she posed a physical threat to Shawnee. Nothing actually happened for anyone to feel like OG posed a physical threat to Shawnee O'Neal. But Shawnee O'Neal is on the show acting like she's so scared and nervous and discomforted by OG being around. She did that tonight. I mean, she did it on last night's episode as well, where I'm going to leave because OG and all of this is just too much, even though you haven't even been in the same room with OG. Does that not make sense to everybody about how they were treated differently on the show? Does that not make sense? Like, I don't get why this is confusing and why we can understand it one week, but then the next week we have to revisit the situation and people are acting like OG needs to just get over it. And as Black people, I don't understand how you don't hear the similarities between you telling that to OG and white people telling us that about the racism we experience every day, acting like it was just in slavery or it was just in Jim Crow, as if we don't have to deal with the subtle nuances of why everybody feels the way they do these days. Those attitudes did not go away. They transformed and just became something different with the same underlying feeling, the same underlying cause and effect feeling that they have about Black people, stereotypes that they have about Black people, how they view us as attractive, how they view us as aggressive, how they view us as worthy of conversation and time. Shawnee would not even give OG a personal sit-down conversation after everything that happened on this show. Yet we're supposed to go along with this bullshit that it's all just favoritism. It's not just favoritism. It's not just favoritism. And I will bring up the Govan sisters, one of which fucked Shawnee's husband. We're joking about it now. But the Govan sisters fucked your husband. And you brought them on the show and gave them a check. You had sit downs with them. You had conversations with them. Tammy was never secluded. Tammy was never secluded, even when they made fun of her about her wigs. They made fun of her. They disliked her and used her as the butt of jokes, just like they did OG. But what they did not do was put her on different sets. They did not separate her from the group. They didn't refuse to tape with her. They didn't sue her when she called them out on things. Do we not understand? I mean, just in the way Evelyn treated the situation with Cece, you were racist to both Cece and you were racist to OG. But when Cece called you out, you wrote a letter and you apologized. When OG called you out, you want to argue with her about it. You want to call her a liar and then sue her for defamation. Do we not see the similarities between this situation and how Asian and Black people are treated in the world? And you don't understand how you're mimicking racism? You don't understand that? When literally Asian people are getting delied out checks in California for the way they've been treated and Black people can't get reparations after hundreds of years of mistreatment? We can't get y'all to vote and say that hanging somebody and lynching them and dragging them from a car and all of this other shit y'all like to do to Black people exclusively. We can't say that's a hate crime in this country. We can't agree. Our government can't agree to make it a hate crime. Yet we put certain land blocks around for Native Americans so that they don't even have to abide by the rules of the country to make up for what was done to them. Everybody gets acknowledgement, apologies, and fucking money and land for what was done to them. And Black people get nothing but denial, contempt. And then you want to do the oppression Olympics with us, as if you can use examples of what we still go through every day to validate you not wanting to follow rules that you create. It's baffling. That is the system of racism that we live in. We didn't make the rules. We just live in it. We're subject to it. That's why we see it. Those of us who choose to open our eyes, listen, pay attention to the things that are happening around us. Everything that I just said that happens on a large global scale is being mimicked on this show. Malaysia and Kristen were arguing down to the fucking semantics with OG. There was a moment when OG is explaining what happened with Cece, And then, you know, what happened with her in the lawsuit. Thank y'all for y'all super chats. I appreciate y'all. Don't think I don't see it. I see it. Thank you. But I want to stay in my thought. There was a time when she was explaining all of that in the audio and on camera. She gave them reasons. They asked what she wanted. She wanted them to stop trying to change her opinion, to take responsibility for what they might have done if they didn't realize they had done it. And they refused to do that. And then they turn around and act like she never made a request. She made a request. And what you did was, Kristen, then turn around and tell her that she's distorting what's happened to fit into a colorism and a racism narrative. Is that not doing exactly what she just asked you not to do, which was try to change her experience? That's exactly what you did. They asked her, how do we move forward? Stop arguing with me about my experience. Accept it. Accept that this is what happened. Say, I'm sorry, and I'll try to do better next time. And then they say shit like, but you don't give us examples. And then she says, I was called a gorilla. I was, a monkey emoji was used when referencing me. I've been called ugly. You've talked about my breasts. You've talked about my feet. You've talked about my clothes. You judged me before you even met me. She brings all of that up as examples of all of the different times that she's actually been treated differently, including what's happened on the show. And everybody gets quiet and has absolutely nothing to say. And then we circle back around to, but I feel like you're not really experiencing colorism. You're just trying to make it fit into that. Do you not see how exhausting it is for OG to have these conversations over and over and over again, and nobody is actually listening? And then they turn around and make it seem as if she hasn't said shit. They go back to Shawnee and they say, she didn't say anything. Nothing was accomplished. No, you just don't like what she said. You just don't want to do what needs to be done to get past it. Why? Because you don't value her. You don't care about how she feels. You don't care if she feels that y'all treated her this way. You don't really care. Like she said, you only want to talk now because of the backlash. Because if you did care about her or cared that you made another Black woman feel that way, you would have sat down with her and actually had a conversation and heard her out, Shawnee. Specifically you, because everybody is following your lead, including your gutter rat ass friend Evelyn that you love so much, who makes you feel better about yourself because she looks up to you. And I imagine that growing up, you always felt in competition with the girls who look like her. Because, yeah, you're the light-skinned Black girl, and you may get treated better than the darker complected Black girls. But, it ain't shit when the wavy-haired Latina girl who speaks a little bit of Spanish comes into the room. So I think it must make Shawnee feel good to keep somebody like Evelyn around as a friend to remind her, I'm still kind of shitting on you. You're my friend. I love you, but I'm still kind of shitting on you. And the way y'all treat people lets me know that y'all have these underlying things in your own relationship. Just like I'm sure that there have been times that Evelyn has said little slick shit about Shawnee as well. Okay? Probably made fun of her nostrils to Jennifer and everything else. But she's never going to say that shit out loud. She's never going to say that shit to other people. You know why? Because that's a check. She's never going to bite the hand that feeds her. Okay? So we can just get all that out on the table from jump. Nia and Noraya. Let's talk about the twins. Nia is mad that OG won't talk about what is going on. Because at this point, I've talked about it ad nauseum. And I'm exhausted. I don't want to explain myself to another person. I totally understand that feeling. I'm tired of explaining it in the reviews, let alone having all of these separate conversations in one fucking day. Like, no, I don't want to talk about it anymore. So now Nia is upset because OG won't talk about everything that just happened with Malaysia and Kristen. And she says that, she always want to ask questions about Phoebe. And OG is like, bitch, don't do that. Don't act like that's the first time we talked about Phoebe. Like, don't act like I'm the one. that's bringing that up. And when she said, I was trying to help you, excuse me, y'all, the kombucha. OG was saying, bitch, I know you're trying to make this your storyline. So I was asking you about it on camera to help you in the shooting. When I ask you about it, you get to have a confessional where you explain what's going on. That's your storyline on the show, bitch. I'm trying to help you. So don't sit up here and act like me bringing it up is an issue, talking about watch your tone. What tone? What tone? And I'm a grown ass woman. I don't have to watch my tone with anybody. Just because it's making you uncomfortable does not mean I need to change it. That's another thing. Noraya gets involved because she has to jump in for her sister, of course. Jackie is aggravated because now everybody is arguing. So she, is trying to put it on OG. She goes to the door to talk to Malaysia, who's still ear hustling. I thought she was gone, bitch. But now they're like, oh, OG's getting into it with Nia and Noraya. Now we can use that. Now we can use that and say, oh, look, she's arguing with the new girls too. They don't even know her. So if she's arguing with them, it must be her. That's what Malaysia said. If she's arguing with them, it must be her. And I'm like, is it? Is it? Did y'all really watch that scene and feel like it was OG that had the issue? I'm sorry. Since when don't people get to say, I'm tired of talking about it. I don't even want to talk about it no more. What else is going on? Since when people don't get able to do that? I can't say I don't want to talk about something because I'm tired. Oh my God. Nia says OG tried to bring her on the show as a pawn against Phoebe last season. She was going to bring her on the reunion show to make Phoebe look bad. OG posted text messages between she and her publicist, showcasing that is not what happened. That girl tried to get on the show with her through like a BuzzFeed interview. Some girl who was doing a BuzzFeed interview with OG about the show was trying to connect her with Nia. And she was like, no, I'm not interested. I'm good off that. Okay. And the girl got on the show again through Jackie. Okay. So to me, the fact that you got on the show through Jackie kind of proves that you was really trying to get on this show. And that if you really, wanted to be on the show, like you proved to want to be on the show because you're on it now, then if OG had really approached you and said, come on a reunion show, why would you not have done that if you were trying to get on the show? Especially since you don't like Phoebe. So it didn't even make sense to me that she sat up there and said, girl, you the one that called me to come on the show. Who are you? You thirsty. Excuse me? Bitch, who we can't even figure out between you and your sister? That's coming on here because you got beef with Furby, who we really don't give a fuck about? I love that OG always has her receipts. I love that OG always has her receipts. The show only has one more episode, you guys. Next week is the last episode and it's over. And I don't think it's going to come back. I don't. I think they cut it short. I think people's response to it is why it's getting cut at the amount of episodes it got cut at. I think that for a number of reasons. But I think production realized that there was no resolve and that people were not going to want to watch y'all not have any resolve. So they cut it. It was almost like, we're going to put y'all in these two houses. If y'all can resolve the shit, we'll go on with the season. If y'all can't resolve it, then we're not going to go on with the season. Like, that's kind of what it seems like to me. And Shawnee leaves the door open at the end of the episode talking about maybe we can try this again at a later date. And I just kind of feel like you won't be trying it for us to review. I'm done. And I said that before, Jesus. But I swear, like after this, I don't know what else I can possibly say about this. I'm tired of reviewing it now. So I don't know what else I could possibly say going forward. And I don't like them enough to continue to want to document or review shows that they do. The only reason I'm doing it now is because I feel like we need to have these conversations because there are too many of y'all online and in the comments that seem to have a lack of understanding. And I do not want you transmitting that bullshit in real life. You need to hear somebody tell you what things sound and look like and what it feels like so that you can ask yourself if you are participating in this bullshit yourself in your real life. Because the comments y'all leave reflect to me your mindset. Your mindset reflects how you will treat the people around you. So you may be a Shawnee or Evelyn or something like that, somebody that needs to check themselves. And that is why I'm continuing to have these conversations. Okay? So Malaysia and Kristen go back to Evelyn and Shawnee and tell them that nothing happened. I told y'all that. And then they tell them that, she said Jackie was colorist too. See, what they did in this moment is they take one thing you say and then they add all this other shit on it when they disseminate it to other people. She didn't say that Jackie was colorist specifically, but she said the group had a colorism issue. Jackie, however, you are colorist, babe. And Evelyn, I'm sorry, Evelyn, am I confused? Did you not read out loud from Takari, Jackie's brown-skinned daughter, and how she said that her mom treated her badly because she was darker and because she was fatter than her light-skinned, skinnier sister that was Doug's daughter, and she was the first nigga's daughter? But Jackie then treated her badly because of those things and made her run and be on treadmills at like 9 years old or some shit like that? Did not show up for her grandchild when her grandchild was badly burned? Jackie has shown repeatedly that she is colorist within the way she treats her daughters. And you were the one that brought that on the show. You used that to browbeat Jackie, bitch. So please explain to me why now, when OG says that Jackie's colorist, Evelyn's response is, no, not Jackie. Jackie, not Jackie. You done already came on here and said that lady was colorist and read out that girl book what her experience with Jackie was. And now OG saying it, you hear it differently? It's different now because Evelyn said it. I wonder why we feel that way. I wonder why when Evelyn called Jackie colorist years ago, we were on her side. And now when OG says it, now all of a sudden everybody's tired of having this conversation. And oh my God, Jackie's colorist. Stop, girl. Stop. Y'all got me fucked up. Y'all got me fucked up. Evelyn calls for Jackie to bring Nia and Naraya over to their house because she's worried. Oh, you were worried? Oh, okay. No, see, this is all, there are more people that can prove that OG is crazy because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create, a narrative that she's crazy so we can invalidate her feelings, so that we can dispute what she's saying, because us being called out as colorist and racist is not a good look for us and our brands. So we're going to try to break apart her story as much as we possibly can. And her arguing with those other girls, which is why I feel like the other girls insinuated the argument. And I also feel like Nia and Araya had a conversation with Shawnee off camera about what their job was on this show. You bitches are not fooling me. Evelyn then said, oh, wait, hold up. So Nia tells the mean girls, the fact that they lit Sage and then they left the house, hilarious to me. Sage is lit, and then you open windows and doors to let like negative energy out. Also, the smell is like calming for some people. For me, it is calming. It reminds me of my grandmother. So when I burn it, it has a calming effect on me. Okay, it's called aromatics. Okay, they were lighting sage and then they left, which I thought was hilarious. Okay, but yes, Nia tells the mean girls that OG tried to bring her on the show to put Phoebe on blast. And Evelyn says, oh my God, this girl is so consumed with finding info to make us look bad. And it's like, wait a minute, can y'all like the video why I get myself ready for this hypocrisy? Can y'all like the video why I get myself ready for this hypocrisy? I'm getting myself ready for the hypocrisy. I'm getting myself ready for the hypocrisy. Okay. All right. Bitch, you called your abuser to get information and cut up text messages and DMs on OG so that you can make her look bad. A man that beat you. You called him to get information on her. and we're talking about OG getting information on people. Shawnee says she's disturbed with OG calling them racist and colorist. And it's just like a Karen. You don't like it. You can't deal with being put on the bad side of your actions, because so often in this environment, racism is celebrated and racism is allowed and it's okay. And people just stay quiet and nobody says anything. So whenever people call it out, it's so jarring and upsetting. And you don't like that it's being called towards you because you're a Black woman. But honey, yes, that's why it's even more annoying. Absolutely. But she keeps talking about, I favored my friend. Okay, fine. I admit that. I favored my friend. I will, and I can admit when I'm wrong, but I see there's no reason in having a conversation with OG. The fact that you feel like there's no reason in having a conversation with her just proves that you don't even feel like she's worth the conversation. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why, because she's done nothing to you. So it has to come down to how you feel about her based off of your own biases and prejudices. It has to. And with your own defensiveness of not wanting to admit your wrongdoing, you're telling us that you don't mind admitting that you're wrong, yet you have not done it one time throughout this entire experience. And had you done it, I feel like the show would have been better. Had you come on, sat down, had a conversation with OG without Evelyn, understood her, heard her out like a human being. Matter of fact, think of her as you would think of one of your kids, because you do have brown complected, tall children who someone can view as aggressive if they ever got upset about something and got loud or aggressive in their movements, in their voice. Your own children can be put in OG's shoes and treated a certain way. It will behoove you to want to have this type of conversation because of the children that you have. But it just shows so often that just because you can fuck on a dark-skinned man and have dark-skinned children does not mean you have the wherewithal, emotional, or mental capacity to understand the nuances of racism and colorism as it pertains to interpersonal relationships, even though you're a Black woman. I hope y'all understood all that. So she's leaving the show. Okay, you ain't doing nothing anyway, boring ass bitch. Kristen and Jackie talk about OG because Jackie is pissed off at OG because now that the show is ending, she's mad and she's looking at it like it's OG's fault instead of looking at Shawnee and Evelyn and everybody else like it's y'all fault. But see, Jackie is in a subordinate position on this show. She's a go-between and she's the one that is, the hanger-on. They make fun of her and she just wants to hang out with them and be a part of the cool girls. Even though she talks all that shit about I'm my own woman and I'm this and I'm that. No, you want to fit in with them hoes. You want to fit in with Shawnee and Evelyn. You do. That's why you're doing all of this. That's why you're upset at OG and not upset at them. Jackie goes back to OG to try once again to get OG to admit that there was no colorism or racism. And the fact that they kept trying to get her to admit that her experience wasn't her experience was so annoying to me and so telling of what was actually happening here versus the narrative they're trying to sell, which is why it's so annoying that so many of you guys are like, oh, OG is annoying. I'm so tired of OG. OG needs to let it go. And it's just kind of like OG is sitting there minding her business and people are coming at her, asking her why she feels the way she does. And she explains. And then they're like, oh my God, bitch, you're tiring me out. Then why do you keep coming to have these conversations with me? Why do you keep coming to get clarity when I give it to you? You don't want it. Make that make sense. She didn't go over there to talk to them. They keep coming over here to talk to her about it. She keeps explaining herself. She keeps giving examples. And everybody acts as if none of it is making any sense. And that's bullshit to me. And when she said that the group had a colorism issue, and then everybody decided to use that as a way to make it sound like she's crazy, y'all are full of shit. Especially using Jackie as an example when y'all have already said that Jackie was a colorist on the show in previous seasons. Anyway, like y'all can't understand the difference between a group having a colorism issue and a person being colorist. And what we're saying is if one or two people in this group are colorists and then everybody else in the group does nothing to correct it, does nothing to speak up for the person that is the victim of the colorism, they just go along with it, then they also play a part in the colorism. How is that hard to understand? How is that hard to understand? Jennifer was trying to make issue with OG. Oh, we all know whose negative energy it really is. It's OG's. No, it's not, bitch. It's yours. They didn't want to tape with you either. They didn't want to tape with you at all. They weren't even discussing you. And you know that. And that's what was upsetting. You yourself at the beginning of the season was so aggravated that Jackie wanted to go over there and talk to Malaysia. And now all of a sudden you're mad at OG because she didn't make up with Malaysia. Girl, get your own fucking emotions together. We all know what was going on. You wanted to be back a part of the clique. You wanted to be back into the bosom of Shawnee and Evelyn so that you could make sure you can get your bag, because that's what y'all see Evelyn and Shawnee as. Y'all see them as connections to a bag in this show. So that's what y'all do. Y'all kiss ass so that y'all can be a part of the clique, and you know it. And just like OG said, the only reason y'all want to have these conversations now is because y'all got so much backlash from us, John Q. Public, that have our own eyes, understanding, and intelligence to be able to look at a situation and what we may not be seeing and decipher for ourselves what we're seeing. So the idea that everybody is fucking crazy except for Shawnee and Evelyn, child, please. These are the two people that are hardly ever right in any given situation on this fucking show. And somehow y'all are sitting up here like, yeah, Evelyn and Shawnee are right. Since when? Since when? Jennifer has always been weak. She's always been weak. She's vapid, shallow, and weak-minded. That's unfortunate. As beautiful as she is, that is who she is. That's unfortunate. That's what I see. That's what she has shown me over the past decade or so on reality TV. I wish she would. There were times when I thought she might be showing me something different. It always comes back to, I need to fit in with the mean girls. It's high school on grown-ass women tees. On menopausal, sagging titty women, this is what we doing. And I'm not saying that like to disrespect because child, these titties sag. But what I'm saying is we are all way too old in life to be like this. Shawnee only feels validated because she's the boss. Evelyn only feels validated that she's not racist. Child, when she started to try to cry, Cece already told you was racist. And then you continue to exhibit that behavior to other people. Latino people, I'm sorry, no disrespect, but light-skinned Latino people, y'all be some of the most ones that take on white people's like prejudices and biases and like disseminate that amongst yourselves and amongst other communities. Because y'all like to see yourselves as fitting in with white people. So y'all often adopt a lot of their attitudes towards Black people and Asian people and everybody else, which is why you're okay with using the words that they would use in order to degrade someone because of their ethnicity and skin tone or skin color or facial features. And everybody keeps acting like featureism and colorism aren't tied together. Stop bullshitting with yourself. Stop bullshitting with yourself. People wouldn't be getting nose jobs the way they get nose jobs if featureism wasn't a thing. And yes, white girls do get nose jobs, yes, but nobody calls the white girls a monkey or looks at them as less of a person or makes it okay to like, breed them like an animal. Because I love when y'all kind of like, y'all always want to use those little things like, oh, white girls get nose jobs. Yeah. But the comparison to animals and then the breeding that happened in history. Yeah, that didn't happen with them like that. No. And they're still the standard of beauty to which we're supposed to uphold. We don't look like them. We don't have their same makeup. We don't have the same genetics. However, the standard of beauty is some thin nose, little bow tie lips, small waist, like it's a white girl. It's Kim Kardashian now. That's your standard of beauty now, Kim Kardashian. I'm done. I said what I had to say. And I just want to say to everybody, when y'all want to go and break apart these conversations, stop stopping in the middle. Because y'all do that. Oh, they just don't like you. Why? Oh, OG's attitude is bad. So is everybody else's. Why is she ostracized from the group and everybody else is allowed to be a part of the group even though they have bad attitudes as well? Thank you for the super chat and the super stickers, y'all. Thank you, Raven. Thank you, Tammy. Child, you ain't got to watch the show no more. It's about to be over. Thank you so much, Andre. For the people who keep saying why OG came back, but why did they bring OG back if she's aggressive in the problem? I think she came back because she thought there could be some resolve. And for a check. Like everybody else that came back. Thank you, Quaisha. Oh, no. These conversations need to happen because people need to see themselves. And I think often people don't see themselves. We live in bubbles. We live in worlds where the things that we say and do are not bothersome to the people around us because they may be like-minded and share in our ignorance. Sometimes it takes somebody outside your bubble to point out your ignorances or your biases. How would you know if you don't recognize it? But to ignore it, to gaslight, to antagonize, to continue to dehumanize another Black Hey, we here? Y'all, my internet. Okay, listen. There's like some type of windstorm. No, there's some type of windstorm going off outside. And, I think it's messing with the internet. But that's all I have to say really about it anyway. If that would have ended, I said everything I had to say. I dissected all they bullshit. Okay. I mean, I think the thing I learned about Shawnee is that Shawnee is not really that good of a person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if y'all have paid attention, but Shawnee has a terrible attitude. Shawnee is stank with almost everybody that comes on that show unless they bow down to her. That's not a good person. Not at least as far as I understand. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, the way she has acted towards OG is an example of her worst self. Somebody who refuses to see themselves, even when somebody is trying to show them. Someone that is an example of treating another Black woman badly, just because you can. And this is not the first time she's done this. They've done this to all the girls. Thank y'all for the super chat. Thank you, future Congresswoman. Thank you, Tarisha, Felder, Teresia. People would rather pretend they don't know what's going on because they don't know about nothing in themselves. Once it's them, it's a problem. Exactly. People only want to pay attention to the issue when it's them. I don't watch the show, but I watch your review, Bondi. You are speaking facts. It's so sad that people are blaming OG and calling her ugly. Like, the fact that y'all even think that's okay to say that shit. Jackie irked me complaining about being a middleman while volunteering to be the middleman. Child, she irritated me for that and for a whole bunch of other reasons with a dumb ass. Because you know they see you as a clown. You know that. And OG said that in that recording. She was like, you either going to be a minion or you're going to be a clown. But because OG fights back and because she's intelligent and is able to actually express herself, whether they like it or not, they want to break her down. And I'm amazed at how people don't see how they do that to Black women all the time. They want to break her down. They want her to concede. They don't want to admit that they were wrong. They don't want to see her side of it. They want her to say, you're right, I was wrong, this didn't happen. That's what they want. And who the fuck is going to do that? Not OG. I wouldn't have either. I guess I'd have been the bad guy. I'd have been the ugly bitch that y'all don't like, that y'all talk about and all of that and say that I need to get over it. And people, I'm ugly and that's what it is. Because that's what you should tell people. Ask yourself why you see her as ugly. Ask yourself why you see her as ugly. Why do you see big noses as ugly? Why do you see big lips, big mouths, dark skin? Why do you see something wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Why is that unattractive? Why? Ask yourself that. Because you act like you ain't been seeing pictures and images all your fucking life telling you what is attractive. You've been programmed to feel a certain way. And then when people tell you you've been programmed to feel a certain way, you get upset about it. But the truth of the matter is you have. If you had seen the exact opposite your whole life, do you think you would feel the exact same way? If you had seen nothing but representations of Afrocentric Black people all over everywhere your entire life, do you really think you would still uphold European standards of beauty? Light skin, small noses, to name a few, flat hair. Would that be something you were still looking at as beautiful if you did not grow up with the images of what's being told to you is attractive and beautiful? Wasn't that like, oh, Lord, people got to stop being so stupid. All right, that wasn't the first time Jackie got called out for being colorist to her daughter. Laura Govan called her out season 2. I think why they surprised. I do remember that, J. Ray. Thank you. Okay, I do understand that. So just ask yourself these questions. Because y'all act like this is, is it some bullshit? But on TV, it reflects the same thing in real life. We hear our, ignorant ass family members down here in Louisiana say shit like, oh, the baby too dark. Ooh, she too dark. What the fuck is too dark? How can I be too dark? I'm whatever the fuck God made me. How am I too dark? How is my skin tone too dark? Nobody is ever out here like really calling people too white. Not really. In white families, nobody's like, you too white. Can't have that baby coming up in my family being all white like that. White people don't say that to their kids. Or the baby with the good hair, all of that. They didn't let her out of contract because they wanted to help Evelyn look like the victim of the aggressive Black volatile woman that she's suing. Oh, that's a good point, Thick Girl 40. Thank you for the super chat. That's a real good point. But yeah, like production, the people on the show, like to me, everybody's to blame for the way this the way this happened. Am I frozen again? I shouldn't be. You might be just, a little later. Yeah, y'all, the internet was acting crazy. So, I'm going to go ahead and check deuces because I've said what I had to say. Okay? So y'all have a good day. And I will do the same. Peace out.